What's up, guys? Straight from the chest. My name is Justin Groth, guys. Thank you for tuning in with me. It's July 5th, which means we're done with July 4th, which means we're about 70% done with fireworks. And I'm so glad for that because I'm old. I'm an old guy, I feel, and I just hate all the noise. And that's that. So I'm glad we're like almost done and over with it. That makes me happy because I don't have to hear a bunch of obnoxious bangs in the night. And anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in with me, man. Welcome again. If you're new to the channel, this is a personal development podcast that hopefully ignites some dormant passion that lays within you and positions you for purpose. To be frankly honest with you, that's my whole mission with this podcast. And those of you who have been listening for any length of time, thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for keep listening to me and giving me your listening ear. Really, it does mean a lot to me, man and woman. So, guys, if you're a lot like me, man, when you were young, you love to reposition your room. You love to rearrange things and you know, I feel like every 3 months I was redoing my room. I was reorganizing my room. And I don't mean organizing because I wasn't an organizer type of person. I mean, I would put my bed on a different wall, put the dresser on a different wall, and I'd always change things around. I don't know why, but just for some reason, it suited me. It suited my psyche to be able to reconfigure, rearrange my room, even though it was the same furniture that was in my room. I was just doing different things with it. So if you were anything like me, you did that. I think most kids do that. I don't know. I like to think so. I like to think I wasn't in a bracket on my own there. But, you know, I got to tell you that in life, we should be doing the same thing. And oftentimes we get, and I'm not gonna say comfortable, but we get complacent in what we find comfort in. And that's okay, because there are seasons in our life that we need to be comfortable and we need to continuously just work in. We need to work in that season. Whether or not it's something that we like to do, we need to do it. There's a purpose, there's a structure behind it that we can't probably see. But man, sometimes I feel like I need to rearrange things in my life, because I don't know about you, but as a kid, that mentality hasn't really changed all that much. I mean, it's just gotten wiser and it's just gotten more mature. But I always feel like I need to rearrange some things in my life. I need to reposition. And when I reposition, I feel a little bit, it's like when you rearrange something, it's a mess at the start, but then after you're done, you sit back and you look at everything and you have a clear perspective of it. You're like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. And it kind of, you just reconfigure things, and sometimes you got to do that in your life. And I feel like this message needs to go out to people who really feel like they only have two choices left. And those two choices are either continuously fake this until something changes. I either do something, I either consistently just live in this perpetual state of doing, even though I feel a nudge, but I'm discounting the nudge and I'm acting as if it's not there because, I got other things that I need to take into consideration. And although that's admirable, you feel like also, if I continuously do this, I'm just faking it. I'm just faking it. Every single day I'm faking it because really I'm suppressing the need to rearrange. I'm suppressing the need to reconfigure. And you know what, man? God may be telling you that for a reason. He may be getting you antsy and uncomfortable for a reason. He may be trying to reposition you for a reason. That positioning is probably lining up for a promotion, but you're just not seeing it because you're too set in your ways of comfort. And I understand comfort is, and I'm not saying you don't have to be comfortable. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you are finding yourself anxious, and you're finding yourself anxious for all the right reasons, but you don't see a way out of where you are, and you're consistently just putting on a facade every day, you're faking it, in other words. You're not thriving. You're barely surviving here. And you just keep going through the motions because maybe that's what your dad did or that's what your mom did and that's the kind of picture they painted. But you know that you were meant for more. You know that there's something more. There's something, the vision that you have isn't anybody else's vision. But you consistently just keep functioning out of just an obedience? Or is it out of fear of change in operation? And sometimes that rearrangement is necessary. So you're faking it. That's one choice you have. Continually fake it until you think something's going to change, even though viscerally, like that means in your gut, nothing's going to change here. Because nothing's changed for the last 5-6 years. And I'm still here. Nothing's going to change. You heard that old adage, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. And that's true. It's more so applied to I don't know. I heard it in bodybuilding. So, that makes a lot of sense. And it's also true in your day-to-day life. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. At the same time, there has to be a position where you get frustrated and you get fed up with what you've been getting. Because what you've been getting isn't what you deserve, and what you deserve is far more than what you're tapping into in terms of your potential. But you're never going to reach that spark of potential. You're never going to actually be able to access your potential if you keep functioning in the comfort or in the complacency. That's a better word that I want to use. I don't really want to use, no comfort. We're going to X out that word comfort. We're going to just use complacency because that's really what it is. You're complacent right now. And the better half of you is telling yourself, you need to muck things up right now. You need to rearrange your life because right now, what you're doing, where you're at, who you're with, if this is a relationship, it's not serving you. And you keep discarding that voice, that direction, that navigation that tells you this is what you need. You need to reposition yourself. But you keep suppressing it. And it's never going to lead to anything good. So the other choice you have, the second choice, is you advocate yourself from the position that you're in. That means you step down voluntarily. That is probably one of the hardest things you're going to ever have to do. Leave the old for the new, even though the old was sublime. That's really hard to do because it's easy to leave something when you got nothing in that something. But it's really hard to leave something when you got something and that is somewhat of your security. It's really hard. That takes a whole different mindset. That takes a whole different element of mental faculties to go off of. That takes something of courage. And that takes something of belief. Audacity belief in yourself and your visions and your ability to predicate on those visions. That takes an element of that's something that's going to be a separator between you and everybody else. Is when you have something of relevance in your life and you step down from that. But sometimes that's the only option you have in order to reposition yourself for a new promotion. Let me say that. Let me say that again. Sometimes that's the only viable option for you to reposition yourself for a new promotion. Because you're right. If you've been feeling something internally, if you've been feeling something viscerally, that is on purpose. That is not there by accident. That is there for you to capitalize on. And when I say capitalize, I mean extract. And when I say extract, I mean do, based on whatever that thing is inside of you. That is called meaning. That is going to lead to your purpose. that is going to lead to a portion or all of your legacy when you die. But if you don't do it now, if you don't step out now, if you don't drop yourself from the position you're in now, even though it's supplying for you now, you'll never know what that is and you'll never live into your full potential. I could end the podcast here because really, that's all you need to know. If you don't rearrange what you have in your life, when it's not serving you, that's important to note. When it's not serving you, you'll never understand the meaning behind your name. You'll never understand the meaning behind the calling. You'll never understand why God placed you here on this earth. You'll never understand the passion that He put inside of you. You'll never understand what you could have been. You'll never understand. But if you just take the chance and reposition yourself, drop yourself from the throne that you're in, you're going to enter into a new city with new promotions, with new increases. And all the while, I know it took courage to do that. It took so much bravery. But all the while, you're having faith in a construct that you can't see, and that's what God wants from you. He doesn't need you to know. He wants you to have faith in Him. He wants you to blindly follow Him. So when you're doing that, you're abdicating yourself from your position you're in. You're telling God, I trust you, even though I'm blindfolded right now. I don't know what I'm doing. But all I can do is not go against what I have viscerally. I can't do that. I can't go against what I have viscerally living in me and wanting to come out of me. I cannot. So I'm going to choose to follow this. I'm going to choose to follow this path. I'm going to choose to drop everything, even though it was serving me lucratively and it was supplying me. But it wasn't serving my heart, and therefore it wasn't giving me the passion and the meaning in life that I know I'm destined for. And that is the difference between making money and living in your legacy. You need to live with meaning behind your name. And that's what you're called for. Your name, your signature, like I talked about in the last podcast, it has meaning and purpose behind it. You don't sign your name like anybody else. And therefore, you have a different attachment to your name, to your signature, which is your trademark. That is who you are. And if you don't live into that, you're doing yourself a dishonest disgrace. Period. Rearrange your room. Rearrange your life. It's necessary at times. And sometimes the way to do that is to walk away and abdicate yourself from the position that you once thought was fruitful. Because just like your room at one point in your time, in your life, when you're young, it's serving a purpose. It's serving an environment in that time. But you get tired of that environment and you need to rearrange some things. We need to rearrange sometimes what we have as adults. And that comes in the form of probably a relationship, a vocation, a career, and that's okay. If anybody told you that it's not okay, doesn't matter what they say, don't listen to them. They didn't have the vision. They don't have the dream like you have. The illustrations that you think of in your head are there on purpose. They're coming attractions that God is giving you. And especially if it's there for years on end, you have to listen to that because there's meaning behind the illustration. There always is and there always will be. If people tell you don't dream, exit them from your life. Now, I'm not saying dream with no works because obviously faith without works is dead. But I am saying dream and realize the illustration that God's trying to give you. He's trying to give you it, man, because He's navigating you. And He's trying to reposition you for a bigger promotion. But you have to take the step. Sometimes that comes in the form of, like I said, advocating yourself from the position that you're in. But you need to take that step. They call it a leap of faith. That's a real thing. You need to take that leap into the next realm, because the next realm is waiting. And it's time. And the time is now. And it's not a month ago. It wasn't then. It wasn't a month later. It's now. You have to take that step now. Because if something doesn't break on your end, it's going to break on the end that's against you. And that's going to be a catastrophe. So you better take the step now. You better listen when the guy's calling you, man. And the guy's calling you is God. He's calling you. But he's calling you because he's trying to reposition you. And he's trying to reposition you because he's trying to promote you more. And you're sitting there thinking, man, it's okay, I'm good where I'm at. But that's not the case, because it's not serving you. And you don't like waking up every morning. You barely like waking up every morning. You barely like going to your job. You barely like communicating with the people here. And I'm telling you, that's not the life that God had for you. I'm telling you that. Even though it makes sense because of everybody else around you has that same illustrative picture, that's not maybe your picture. That's not what God had for you. And if you keep going every single day, you're just getting older. And you're going to live with more regret behind you if you keep living in the complacency that you're in now currently. I promise you that's not your lot. Now, do you believe that? That's up to you. My suggestion is that you rearrange your life on purpose. Done.